The Seraphim star cruiser's celestial ember floated silently in deep space. Its glowing silver hull was cracked, burned from an attack hours ago. The engines were damaged, and life support was running on backup power. Inside the ship, chaos had calmed. The fires were out, the wounded were treated, and the invaders were gone. But one sound still echoed through the halls, a sound worse than alarms. Worse than screams. A baby was crying. Not just any baby, the child of Princess Avila of the Seraphim Empire. Her daughter was only 4 days old, and her voice shook. The ship like thunder. Cries came in waves, high and sharp, vibrating the walls and flickering the lights. Every time the child cried, nearby tech failed. Screens cracked, drones dropped. Gravity fields stuttered, and no one could stop it. Princess Avila, wrapped in a long white robe, stood inside her chamber holding the baby. Her skin shimmered faintly. In the dim light, her silver eyes full of panic. She had ruled armies, faced warlords, even survived a mutiny once. But now she was helpless. The baby, wrapped in glowing silk, wailed and kicked. Avila rocked her gently, whispered in Seraphim. Tongue called for her healers, her scientists, anyone, do something. She shouted as the baby's cries shook the room again. Her top medic, Chief Healer Ven, scanned the child with a glowing tool. Princess, her health is stable. No wounds, no poison, no virus. But the readings are strange. Her neural waves. Don't tell me what they are. Fix her, Vela cried, her voice breaking. We've tried everything, Ven whispered, eyes down. She won't stop. A knock came at the chamber doors. Avila turned. Her guards stepped aside, revealing a strange figure, tall, broad, wrapped in a dirty brown uniform, with a cracked helmet under one arm. Deterran. A human. Corporal David Rourke had arrived 2 days ago. After his small rescue pod crashed near the Ember, he was pulled aboard after offering to help with repairs. So far, the Seraphons barely tolerated him. They considered humans rough, primitive, emotionally useful for manual work, nothing more. Now here he was, standing awkwardly just inside the doorway. Holding a small toolkit. You're not supposed to be here, said a guard. I heard the noise, Rourke said, squinting. Sounded like someone was dying. Leave Terran, Avila snapped. This is a royal matter. The baby screamed again, louder than before. The lights above flickered out. Rourke flinched. She sounds scared, he said quietly. She hungry? Avila frowned. She was fed moments ago. Too cold? Or maybe colic? He asked. What is? Colic? Avila asked. Rourke scratched his beard. It's when a baby cries for no clear reason. Happens to humans. You hold them, rock them slow, make a little noise. It sometimes helps. She won't calm for any of us, Avila said coldly. She is Seraphim royalty. You are a Terran. Leave before the baby wailed again, shaking the room. Rourke stepped closer, slowly raising both hands. Permission to try? Avila stared at him. She wanted to say no. She wanted to throw him out. But she had no options left. The baby's powers were growing, and none of her people could control it. Try, she whispered. Rourke stepped forward. The baby thrashed and wailed. In her mother's arms, Avila hesitated, then handed the child to him. She expected the baby to scream louder, to send him flying with a burst of uncontrolled energy. Instead, the moment she touched his chest, the baby stopped. Just like that, silence filled the chamber. Avila blinked. The guards exchanged stunned glances, and the medic scanner went quiet. The baby looked up at Rourke with wide violet eyes, then made a soft cooing sound. Her tiny hands gripped his shirt. Rourke chuckled. Hey there, little one. You just needed some skin-to-skin, huh? He sat slowly on the chamber floor, holding the child close, rocking gently. Ow. He began to hum a soft old earth lullaby, simple. Repeating, the baby sighed and fell asleep. Princess Avila stepped forward, her voice quiet. What did you do? Nothing special, Rourke said. Just what human parents do. Touch helps. Warmth helps. Sometimes that's all they want, but she hasn't slept since birth. Only sedatives calmed her for moments. Avola knelt beside them. Why you? Rourke looked down at the tiny alien child curled against his chest. Maybe she doesn't care what species I am. Maybe she just needed someone calm. Chief Ven scanned again. Her energy readings. They're stable, balanced. I don't understand it. Avila's face softened, the pride in her voice cracking. She is a starborn heir, born during a galactic alignment. Some say that brings unusual traits. I thought it was myth. Rourke raised an eyebrow. So she's special. Maybe more than special. She may be dangerous. Avola stood. And now she has bonded with you. He stiffened. Bonded. She stops crying when you are near. Her power calms. You are now the only one who can keep her stable.
Yes.
You understand what that means? Rourke swallowed. Not exactly. You know what it means, she said slowly. You may not leave this ship, ever. Later, that night, Rourke sat on a padded bench in the royal nursery. The baby slept in his arms, breathing softly. The stars outside blinked gently through the window. Avella stood nearby, arms crossed. Watching him. You're a soldier, she said. Not a parent. I've held a few nephews, Rourke replied. But yeah, not a father. You are now something more than a soldier, she said quietly. You are a key to my daughter's survival. Perhaps more. He looked up. Not your subject, princess. No, she said, stepping forward. You are something rarer. A Terran the Seraphon Empire may have to trust. They both looked down at the baby. She was smiling in her sleep and far away. Beyond the stars, others had felt the waves of energy she released. Ships turned. Scanners blinked. Factions stirred. The galaxy had heard the cry, and now it would come looking. The Seraphon cruiser's celestial ember floated quietly near a dead star. No one on board said it aloud, but everyone knew. The baby had changed everything, the infant. The daughter of Princess Avala had stopped crying as long as the human soldier. Corporal David Rourke held her now. Every day, Rourke carried her through the glowing crystal halls. She had a name now. Avalea announced it to her people in private. Valisarin, meaning light of the unseen stars. But to Rourke, she was still just Starling. The nickname had stuck, and Starling loved him. Whenever he held her, her tiny, violet eyes lit up. She reached for his beard, clung to his shirt, babbled softly in sounds no translator could decode. The strange thing was, her presence calmed. Not just machines, but people, too. Even the hard-faced Seraphon guards began to lower their voices around her. Rourke didn't understand it, but he saw the change. What he didn't see yet was how dangerous it all was becoming. The scientist warning one evening. Princess Avella entered the medical chamber where Rourke was sitting with Starling asleep in his arms. Her footsteps were silent, her long white robe flowing like mist. Come. With me, she said simply. Rourke stood, careful not to wake the baby. She's finally sleeping. She must come too. They walked through long silver tunnels until they reached a dark chamber filled with blue screens and humming crystals. Inside was Chief Healer Ven, looking tired and pale. He pointed to a holodisplay of Starling's energy readings. I've studied her neural patterns, he said quietly. They're not normal. I figured that already, Rourke said, rocking her gently. She's generating low-level waves that interact with reality itself. Gravity, magnetism, energy, even emotion. Ven looked nervous. She doesn't just affect devices. Affects people's thoughts, their moods, their instincts. Rourke looked at the sleeping baby in his arms. She's just a baby. For now, Avula said. But if this continues to grow, even her laughter could break a planet's crust. Her screams could end a fleet. Rourke blinked. That's insane. Some Seraphons believe the prophecy is real, Ven said. They say a child born under the converging moons will either save the galaxy or destroy it. That's just legend, right? Avella didn't answer. She looked at Starling with both love and fear. Many will see her as a threat, she finally said. Will come. They may already be coming. Unseen eyes. Rourke soon noticed more guards on the ship, extra patrols, quiet whispers. The atmosphere had changed. One night, as he rocked Starling to sleep in his private quarters, he noticed something odd, a blinking light under the table. He bent down. A small, illegal Seraphon tracker cloaked from sensors was attached. To the bottom of his chair, Rourke's heart thumped. He ripped it off and stormed into the main control room. Avella was already there, staring at a star chart. "What the hell is this?" he snapped, tossing the tracker onto the table. Avella turned, surprised. She looked at the device, then at her guards. "Who placed this?" she demanded silence. Finally, a nervous young officer stepped forward. "Forgive me, Your Grace. The High Command sent orders. If the child becomes unstable, we must neutralize the threat." Rourke stepped forward, rage in his voice. "Neutralize? You mean kill her?" The officer lowered his eyes. Rourke turned to Avola. "You knew, I suspected," she said softly. "Not this soon." Rourke held Starling closer. "She's just a baby, and she trusts me. I won't let them touch her." "And what will you do, Terran?" one of the guards mocked. "Take her back to your broken world and raise her among dirt and steel?" Rourke didn't answer. He didn't need to. His eyes said everything. The bond deepens. In the days that followed, Avella began to visit more often. She watched Rourke feed Starling from a glowing bottle, clean her with soft cloths, hum old earth lullabies. It was strange to her. The Seraphon royal family did not raise children personally. Caretakers did that. Love was shown through protection, not touch. But now seeing Rourke with her daughter, Avella felt something stir inside, a strange mix of envy and admiration. "You are more gentle than expected," she said one morning. Rourke smiled. "Humans are weird like that. She smiles when you talk. She calms when you hold her. Even I cannot do that." "You're trying," he said softly. "That's what matters." She looked down at her daughter in his arms, her voice suddenly quiet. "I was trained to lead, to rule, to fight. But no one trained me for this," same Rourke said. "But she doesn't need a warrior. She needs her mom." Avella said nothing. But from that day, she began to spend more time with Starling. Touching her, holding her, even trying to sing. Her voice was sharp and unsure at first. But Rourke didn't laugh. He helped her, and slowly. The baby began to smile for her too. The message, it came suddenly. 2 weeks after Starling stopped crying, a message sent across subspace in a language older than Seraphon or Terran. The signal burst through every defense the cruiser had. One line appeared, glowing in fire-red text on the screen. "The reality child lives. We come for her." Ven's face turned white. "That's the Vorlon Empire," he said in a trembling voice. "They haven't sent a message in 1,000 years." Rourke stared at the screen. "Who the hell are they?" "Ancient enemy of the Seraphons," Avula said, voice hard. "They were banished to the dark side of the galaxy.
Ow.
No one has heard from them in generations." "They heard her cry," Rourke said, voice low. "Back when she couldn't stop. That sound, it reached them. Now they know she exists." Avella whispered. "And they'll never stop." A choice later that night, Rourke stood by the observation deck, looking at the stars. Starling slept against his chest in a cloth sling. Avila stood beside him. "We can return to Seraphon Prime," she said. "Place her inside the crystal dome. There she would be safe." "Watched always?" "Watched or caged?" Rourke asked. "Protected." He looked at her. "And if they decide she's too dangerous?" She said nothing. Rourke sighed. "There's another way." She turned. "What way, Earth?" She laughed, a bitter sound. "Your world? With your deserts and steel towers and noise?" He smiled. "It's the one place in the galaxy where no one follows alien rules. Where governments fight each other too much to care what's flying above. Want to raise her? In hiding? I want to raise her in freedom," he said. She was quiet a long time. Finally, she said, "You would die for her." He looked down at the baby. "No, I'd live for her." The celestial ember no longer floated in peace. The stars outside it burned with tension. Engines hummed in nervous rhythm. Shields flickered, and every eye turned toward the outer sensors. The message from the Vorlon Empire had shaken the ship's very soul. They were coming, and they wanted Starling. The baby girl who now slept quietly in a human soldier's arms. The war. Meeting Princess Avila stood tall at the head of the royal war table. Her long silver robe shimmered like light on water. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "All captains report," she said. Screens blinked to life across the chamber. Faces of Seraphon commanders appeared, noble, stern, and ready for war. "They move with stealth," said Captain Urith. "But we've tracked 3 Vorlon cruisers crossing the edge of the remnant belt." "They're heading here," said another. Chief Healer Ven entered, holding a glowing data pad. "The child's energy pulses are increasing again. She may be sensing the threat." "Or causing it," someone muttered. That someone was Admiral Kell, one of Ivela's top military leaders. His golden armor gleamed, and his face was cold as stone. "This is what I feared," Kell said. "The child is a danger to us all." "She's a baby," Rourke snapped, holding Starling close in the corner. Kell glanced at him with disgust. "And you're a Terran. You don't understand our laws, our threats, or our prophecy." "I understand, family," Rourke said. "And I understand what happens when people are afraid of things they don't understand. The Vorlon will not talk. They will attack," Kell warned. "We should use the crystal dome, lock her powers, seal her inside before it's too late." Avola raised her hand. "No, that is not our path." Kell glared at her. "Then what is, Princess?" She turned toward Rourke and the baby in his arms. "We run." The plan they gathered in secret inside the lower engine bay. Avola, Rourke, Chief Ven, the Vorlon track. "Energy bursts," the Vorlon track energy bursts, Avola explained. "What?" "We can't jump directly from here. They'll intercept." "So what do we do?" Rourke asked. "There's an abandoned Seraphan relay station on a dead moon called Lear 5, said one of the engineers. "We can drop out of warp there. From that point, the child's energy can be masked for a short time." "Enough time to escape," Avila said. "To Earth." Rourke blinked. "You're really coming with us?" "I'm her mother," she said. "And if I send her away now, I may never see her again." Rourke looked down at Starling, now awake and quiet. Her wide violet eyes stared up at him with complete trust. He nodded. "When do we leave?" The betrayal, but not everyone on the ship supported the escape. Admiral Kell stood in the shadows of the command tower, whispering into a secret communicator. "Begin the lockdown," he said. On the lower decks, alarms suddenly blared. "Emergency code? Royal quarantine." Bulkhead doors slammed shut. Lights turned red. The nursery chamber sealed itself with magnetic locks. Ivela's eyes widened. "He knows," she whispered. "He's trying to trap us." Inside the sealed hallway, Rourke held Starling tightly and looked around. "They're closing the bay doors," Chief Ven shouted. "This way." They ran toward the emergency shaft. The plan was falling apart. Guards turned against them. Armored soldiers blocked every path. Rourke kicked one down. Ivela stunned 2 more with her glowing wristband. Ven opened a hatch, and here, they climbed into a narrow maintenance tunnel, crawling through metal pipes and glowing cables. Behind them, footsteps echoed. "They're following," Avola said. Starling began to cry softly at first, then louder. The walls started to hum. Sparks flew. Lights popped. "No, no, baby, not now," Rourke whispered, holding her tighter. "We're almost there." It was too late. Her power burst just for a second. It sent a shockwave through the tunnel. The pursuing guards were thrown back. The baby's cry had saved them. The escape ship they reached the hangar. One small ship, a stealth-class shuttle, sat ready. Black and sharp, shaped like a winged dagger. Rourke opened the hatch. La jumped in after him. "Engine's hot," said Ven, sliding into the pilot's seat. "Coordinates for Lear 5. Locked." The hangar doors began to open too slowly. Behind them, Admiral Kell's troops arrived. "Seal the hangar," he shouted. "Fire on the shuttle if necessary." "Go," Vola screamed. The ship blasted out of the hangar bay just as energy bolts hit the shields. The celestial ember shrank behind them, disappearing into the stars. Rourke held Starling, breathing fast. She was silent again, but this time her little hand was pressed to his chest. Her energy had flared, then faded. She saved us, Evola whispered. Yes, Rourke said. But for how long? The moon was dead, covered in ash and cracked rock. The relay station stood like a broken tooth, half buried. Ancient. They landed the shuttle inside the ruined hangar. Avula stepped out first, scanning the horizon. No sign of ships, yet Rourke muttered. Chief Ven activated the dampener field, a glowing dome that masked all energy signals. We're invisible, for now, he said. Inside the relay station, they set up camp. Cold metal floors, old consoles. Silence, but to Rourke, it was peaceful. He sat against a wall, Starling asleep in a sling across his chest. Avila sat beside him, arms around her knees. She's calm, the princess said. She trusts us. Avila looked at him. What? Why do you do this? What? Risk your life. For her, for me. Rourke looked at her. I was a soldier. Fought wars. Saw innocent people hurt because someone powerful said they're dangerous. I swore I'd never let that happen again. He looked down at Starling. She's not a weapon. She's not a threat. She's a child. Someone has to protect her. Evila's eyes glistened. Thank you. Rourke gave her a tired smile. Don't thank me yet. The real trouble's still coming. The signal breaks hours later. Chief Ven called them to the control room. Bad news, he said. The dampener's weakening. I think the baby's power is overriding it, Rourke sighed. So they'll find us, as Avella said, standing tall. And when they do, we fight. Just us? Rourke asked. She smiled faintly. Maybe not. I sent a secret signal before we left. There are still loyal Seraphons who believe in peace. Let's hope they find us first. Outside, the stars blinked, and in the dark edge of the galaxy, 3 Vorlon. Warships moved like shadows, following the ancient scent of star energy. The child had cried once. The galaxy had listened. Now it was coming to claim her. The abandoned moon of Lear 5 was quiet. That silence carried danger. Rourke stood at the top of the relay station's broken tower. The stars above were bright, but his eyes searched for shadows. He knew they were coming. Inside, Starling slept. Peacefully in a blanket, tucked into a small cradle made from old storage crates. Her skin gave off a soft glow now, faint but warm. Princess Avella sat beside her. Watching the baby like a mother guarding the last flame in the universe, she heard Rourke's footsteps behind her. Still no ships? She asked. He shook his head. But they'll be here soon. That dampener's fading. Avella ran a hand over Starling's cheek. Her energy is changing. It's not wild anymore. It's focused. Like she's learning to control it. Rourke gave a tired smile. Let's hope she learns fast. Warning from the stars down in the relay station's old control room. Chief Ven worked non-stop. His hands moved over, glowing. Panels trying to send a signal through the station's long-dead systems. Suddenly, a red light blinked. Contact, he said quietly. Evola and Rourke rushed in. A ghostly voice played over the speakers, broken and distorted. Vor ships. Inbound. ... 14 minutes hostile? No mercy? Then silence. Rourke stared at the dark screen. That's it then. Evola stood straight. Prepare defenses. This station was once used for war. There must be something left. Ven nodded. I'll check the weapon systems. You two stay with the child. The storm begins 12 minutes. Later, Rourke stood in the dust-covered hallway with a plasma rifle. He wasn't sure if it would matter. The Vorlon were ancient. Their weapons weren't just machines. They were living creatures twisted into war. Avella stood beside him, her own weapon humming with light. Then the sky cracked. The Vorlon ships broke through orbit like falling stars. Spiders with wings. Their cannons lit up the sky. Boom. Boom. Explosions shook the ground. The relay station groaned, dust falling from the ceiling. Inside the control room, Chief Ven shouted, "Shields up!" But they won't hold long. The first Vorlon strike hit the outer wall. Then the creatures came. They didn't look like soldiers. They were tall, thin, with gray skin and long black eyes. Some floated instead of walking. They carried weapons that seemed to grow from their own arms. They didn't speak. They attacked. Rourke opened fire, covering the hallway as Avala dodged behind broken consoles, firing back. 2 Vorlon fell, but 3 more replaced them. They're trying to get to the cradle, Below yelled. No way they're touching her. Rourke growled. The battle turned into chaos. The baby Wake Starling woke up. She heard the noise, the fear, the fire, and she felt something else, a strange pain deep inside. Not her own pain, but her mother's, her protector's. She sat up, blinking slowly, and her eyes began to shine, not with tears, but with light. Mother Standovela saw the Vorlon leader approaching, a tall, floating creature with a silver mask and long, sharp arms. It pointed at her. Double quotes, give, ... The child of Starbirth. Avella raised her head high. You will not touch her. The Vorlon's eyes glowed red. I am her mother. The creature lifted its weapon, but before it could fire, the entire hallway filled with blinding white. Light Rourke covered his face. Then he realized it wasn't coming from the VOR. Lun, ... It was coming from behind him. The power of a child starling walked into the hallway. Her tiny steps made no sound. She looked at the Vorlon soldiers with her glowing, violet eyes. The light around her pulsed, and the creatures stopped. They froze then. Something incredible happened. The nearest Vorlon, the one with the silver mask, dropped its weapon. Knelt. Then the others did too. All around the station, the invading creatures stopped moving. They looked at the child, eyes wide, hands trembling. Avella lowered her weapon, stunned. She's controlling them, Ven whispered, entering the room. No, Rourke said slowly. She's not using force. Then what? She's showing them something. The vision later Vin would say that the baby had shared a memory, not words, not pictures, but a feeling. Peace, hope, warmth. She had sent it to every mind in the room. Even the Vorlon, they had never felt that before. The Vorlon had no mothers, no families. Only war. Starling had shown them something new, and they had stopped. The silver-masked leader rose and stepped toward her, slowly, carefully then. It turned to Avella. Child belongs, with both, not one. Avella looked at Rourke. He nodded. We know. Then the Vorlon stepped back, and they vanished. Just like that. No more war, no more fire, only silence. After the battle was later, Celestial Ember arrived in orbit. Loyal Seraphin soldiers poured into the base, weapons ready. But there was no enemy left. Only a calm baby, a tired human, a proud mother, and a quiet relay station filled with light. Admiral Kell was not among the rescuers. He had been arrested by the Royal Council for attempting a coup. The Seraphon people had seen the truth now. Starling was not a weapon. She was a bridge between two worlds, New future weeks passed. Starling's power continued to grow, but now it was stable, gentle. Her cries no longer shattered walls. Her laughter healed broken machines and broken hearts. Rourke and Avella raised her together, on a quiet moon just beyond Seraphin space. Part Earth, part Seraphin. She had 2 languages, 2 cultures. But one home, and many protectors. Sometimes Vorlon ships would pass by silently, respectfully, never close, but never far. Watching, honoring. Chief Ven returned often to study her energy. Now, peaceful like starlight on water, Rourke taught her how to fight. Avella taught her how to lead, and both of them taught her how to love. The legend begins in time. Stories spread across the stars of the starborn child, who stopped a war with a single thought, of the human soldier who calmed a baby when no one else could, of the alien princess who gave up her throne to protect her daughter, and of a new future. One where Seraphin, Terran, and even Vorlon sat at the same table, because of one child and the 2 hearts that raised her. Many years had passed since the battle on the moon, Lear 25. The galaxy had changed. The Seraphon Empire was no longer just an empire. It had become part of something bigger. Council of Peace, made up of humans, Seraphons, and even Vorlon ambassadors, now met on a giant space station called Unity's Heart, and at the center of it all was the girl who had once cried so loudly that whole ships shook. Her name was Starling. The young one, Gross Starling, was no longer a baby. She was now 12 years old, tall for her age, with glowing violet eyes and soft silver-white hair. She had a calm smile and a curious mind. She could speak 6 languages and read ancient codes that even computers couldn't understand. But most special of all, her power was now completely in her control. She could heal wounded plants, fix broken machines with a touch. She could even calm angry soldiers with nothing but her voice. But with power came questions. "Why did I stop the war?" she asked one day. Her mother, Princess Avola, smiled softly. "Because you loved everyone, Evan. Those who were afraid of you?" Her father, Captain Rourke, gave her a tougher answer. "Because you were strong enough to choose peace, even when everyone else was ready to fight." Starling nodded. But deep down, she still felt like her journey wasn't complete. The warning comes one day. A strange object entered the edge of known space. It was not Seraphon. It was not human. It was not Vorlon. It was something else. A small black probe, shaped like a cube, covered in glowing symbols no one could translate. It hovered near the Unity station, scanning everything. Then it spoke. She must return. The child of Starbirth must awaken. The cycle begins again. Then the cube exploded into light and vanished. No one knew what it meant, but Starling did. She felt something shift inside her, like a voice from deep space whispering in her mind. "They're coming," she said quietly. The Lost Ones returned. The Seraphon Council, the Earth Alliance, and the Vorlon Order all gathered to talk. Rourke stood at the edge of the council room, watching the leaders argue. "We should lock the child away," said a nervous ambassador. "She has done nothing wrong," Avella replied sharply. "She may attract enemies again," said another. "She has saved more lives than anyone in this room," said Rourke, stepping forward. Just then, alarms rang across the station. A rift had opened. Out of the rift came ships unlike any seen before us. Silver, quiet. They had no weapons. Oh, they carried fear. They were from the ancient Silence, a race thought to be extinct for over 10,000 years. It said they once ruled the stars, and then vanished after a mysterious war. Now they had returned, and they were looking for something. Face to face, the leaders of the ancient Silence did not come in armor. They came in robes, glowing with starlight. Their faces were hidden behind glass masks. They spoke one word, "Child." And then they stopped speaking to everyone except Starling. She stepped forward alone, brave and calm. "I'm here," she said. One of the masked leaders moved close. "You are the echo of our last hope. It's the starborn flame, the voice of the core." "I'm just a girl," Starling replied. "No," the being said. "You are the key to the Great Reset. The galaxy's pain cannot be fixed. It must be restarted." Everyone froze. "You want to destroy it?" Avila said, stepping forward in anger. "To cleanse it," said the ancient Silence leader. Through her, Rourke stepped in front of Starling. "She's not your weapon. She was made for this," the being said. "No," Starling said. Quietly, "I was born to fix what you broke." The final choice, the ancient Silence placed a strange crystal on the ground. It floated, humming with pure energy. "This is the heart of origin," they said. "Place your hand upon it, and the reset will begin." "What happens to everyone else?" Starling asked. "All things will begin again. Pain will be erased, war forgotten. Life will start anew. Everyone will die," she whispered. "They will not feel it," the leader said. Starling turned to look at her parents. Rourke shook his head. "We fought too hard to give up now." Vola stepped forward. "We don't need a reset. We need healing. We need you." Starling turned back to the crystal. Then she placed her hand on it. The leaders of the ancient silence bowed. Button, instead of glowing red. The crystal turned blue, then white, then gold. The ancient leaders stared in confusion. She's rewriting it. One whispered, "No." Another said, "She is forgiving it." Starling closed her eyes. All her memories of war, pain, fear poured. Into the crystal then, she added something else. Love. The awakening the heart of Origin pulsed with new energy across the galaxy. Sick planets began to heal. Cracked moons became green again. Dying stars grew stable. Machines long thought dead began to hum. And something else happened too. The ancient silence wept. Tears ran down their masks, glowing like stars. "You have done what we could not," their leader said. "You chose understanding." Starling opened her eyes. "I didn't destroy the galaxy," she said. "I showed it mercy." The beings bowed to her. Then they faded, not in death, but in peace. Their last mission complete. New era begins now. The stars are quiet but not empty. Peace is not perfect. Disagreements still happen. But there is no war, because everyone remembers the day the galaxy was nearly erased and saved by a child raised by love, a child of two worlds. Rourke and Avala stood on a green hill outside the city on New Lear, a planet now filled with life and peace. They watched Starling play with other children, Vorlin, Terran, Seraphin, even young ones of the ancient silence. "She's everything we hoped for," Avella whispered. "She's everything we didn't even know was possible," Rourke replied. They held hands, and somewhere above them, the stars watched and smiled. The final words of the story end, so the legend ends, not with a war or a crown or a cry, but with a child who chose to be kind. The galaxy did not need a new beginning. It only needed a little light and someone brave enough to share it.